Hey guys, I'm super glad to have you all here again today. So, today we're going to talk about a really important topic. And so, a lot of times we hear a lot about how, oh, if you share something difficult with somebody, that, oh, I'm going through a difficult time, or, मेरे life में ये problem चल रहा है यार, and you just start talking. So, 9 times out of 10, these days, people tell you that, कोई नहीं यार, be positive, सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, everything will be fine. And, just pray or just believe, just be positive and just manifest, and everything will be fine. So, of course, that's not bad advice. No one's saying that. But what happens is sometimes we need something more than this positivity. We need a bit of acceptance and validation. Now, it's not always the fault that, who you're talking to is at fault here, because they've just been geared for that. Nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news. Nobody wants to be real anymore. So they feel ki, if I can't help in any other way, then best to just listen to them and give them a template type answer, which is be positive or just be optimistic answer. So, and even though positivity is an amazing thing, there is a line when it does become toxic positivity. And so I really thought of this topic because I'm somebody who is sort of allergic to these ultra positive vibes. Because I know that एक जगह होती है जहाँ पे you want to vent out, you want to be real, you want to get some real feedback, or you just want to take life on face value. Because obviously, if life's like a mountain and a valley and everything rolled together, so you cannot imagine that hamesha there will be the sun shining and anything. And just as important, the night is, as trite as that sounds, and I know it does. But yeah, uh, सिक्के के दोनों पहलू are equally important. So now when we think about that, the good vibes and those neon signs and those t-shirts, and they do look amazing, but life is not all about just eat pray love. It does, I'm not saying that you have to be negative, you have to be pessimistic. No, that's another that's something that we should talk about some other time. But I do want you to imagine that, tell me really if any of this has ever happened to you, that when you talk to somebody looking for some sort of a solution, looking for some sort of a support, a shoulder to cry on, and then they just give you this template answer and just sort of shut you up in some way. Does that make you feel good, or does that make you feel that, oh, was I being over dramatic? Was I being too much? Was I taking up too much space in their happy land? Or looking at so much of manufactured happiness in other people's feeds, their lives, which is, what we are surrounded by when we look online. So does it make you feel, oh my god, everybody is happy, it's just me who has some sort of a problem or some sort of a sadness? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, what I want you to remember is that no matter what we see or we are made to observe, life is not a bed of roses. Now, it doesn't mean that you go about in high anxiety and keep thinking कि यार कुछ भी सही नहीं होगा, या live in fear for all the time immemorable to come. But what is important is to recognize that both sides are important. It is very important that you be happy in life. Try and be positive when you're faced with difficulties, but do not let that overwhelming positivity cloud your judgment. For example, a lot of us know what is bipolar disorder, right? But just for whoever may not be so well versed in it, let me just tell you, it's when you have episodes. Now, these episodes are of two types. First is the depression, and then there is a period called manic happiness. So depressive periods, you all can understand what happens, that people get, they are unable to do their daily jobs, like even sometimes cleaning themselves or basic hygiene. वो अपने job पे नहीं जा सकते. They just feel so low because there is a dearth of dopamine in their body. and those episodes can last, depending on person and depending on their medication, etc., from hours to days to weeks to months. But the opposite side is when they are happy. The problem with that happiness is that it is totally unreal, and it fills them up with such beliefs now that they will feel कि अगर मैं यहाँ से कूद जाऊँ तो nothing will happen to me because I am indestructible, I'm Superman. So you see the problem that occurs. Too much of happiness, too much of that belief, too much of optimism is also wrong. For all the people who dabble in tarot, for those people, I would say you've seen the sun card, and it's a very positive card, right? And then you see the reverse sun. So imagine that something positive also has its Hanikarak, causes or results as well. So, uh, in our cultural obsession with positive thinking, we have taken it to a dangerous extreme. And so today, that is what I just want to unmask this good vibes ka nakab. So obviously, I do not mean that you have to just become totally there is no such a rule that you have to choose one mask and just wear it for the rest of your life. You have to be either totally happy or totally unhappy. No, you can just be a realist. And that's what we are trying to say, Just be real with yourself. Try and work out your feelings, talk about your feelings, get help if needed. We are always here for you. Do not just feel that I have to keep hiding my true feelings to fit in with this puzzle that we call the world. There is nothing more dangerous than having to do that. And so let's just look at the most common toxic positive phrases we use, often without even realizing that we are hurting the other person. Because sometimes what you need in your life, it's much better if you can practice it when the other people need it as well. It's very like a relationship that if your love language is giving gifts and you do not give gifts, then you cannot expect it. So, in the same vein, let's see what we should not tell or tell other people, and maybe we'll be lucky enough that they will mirror that behavior back to us. So, phrase number one: everything happens for a reason, right? How many times, how many innumerable number of times we've heard this कि जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. It doesn't help you, does it? And the reality is that no, sometimes bad things just happen, and it's okay to say and accept that this is incredibly unfair. It's okay to just, be real in that feeling. Now, what you can do is, in the next time you feel these unbearable feelings, there are a bunch of ways that you can let it out in socially acceptable ways. One way is to maybe, join some sort of an exercise or sport, whether that is swimming, boxing, kickboxing, anything that gets your blood moving, the body moving, anything that gets your heart racing, anything to dispel that extra energy, that nervous anxiety all up in your head. Okay. And another thing, of course, would be for all the dancers or even non dancers out there. If you love music, just lock yourself in a room. And if you're shy, to do this, otherwise, dance your heart out. um, Dance therapy is beautiful for this. It doesn't matter whether you do belly dancing, salsa, Bollywood, hip hop, aerobics, कुछ भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Just get that body moving, because the tension you ease in your limbs, that is when your brain will be free enough to think of the various possible options. Because positive attitude in difficult situations is very much needed, but in order to get that solutions coming to you, in order to think of things in a new way, in order to open new doors, you have to take a different approach, and this is that approach. Another thing that would help, and a lot of major cities now have these smash rooms, whether it's Hyderabad, Pune, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, of course. So these are basically rooms where you go, you pay a fee of some amount, and then there are a bunch of things for you to break, whether that is glass, ceramics, pottery, TVs, mixies, could be. It's incredibly safe. They give you goggles or whatever protective equipment, and you can just smash things to your content. Now, what this does is it really lets you get your anger out, because anger is a very powerful and very essential emotion. हर समय सिर्फ उसको ये बोल के कि नहीं इसमें गुस्से होने की बात नहीं है या don't get angry at this, move on, कहने से it doesn't always solve the issue. What matters is to actually address the feeling and solve it in some way. And of course, the best and easiest way I would say would be to journal. Even that is not so easy. It does require a lot of patience and effort, and to really give into your mind and heart and listen to yourself that what do I need to put down on paper. So journaling also really helps. At least if you're facing a choice or some sort of a problem, you write it down or you get as much of clarity as you can, and it just gives you a whole new perspective that, oh my god, I didn't. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of clarity, and that clarity is something you already have inside you. We just have to be more confident, be more patient, just listen to ourselves much more. So phrase number 2, that at least you have a job, at least you have a roof over your head, like, I mean, like, be grateful for what you have. See, there's nothing wrong in acknowledging your what you already have, because gratitude is very very important, but to remind people or remind yourself in certain moments is not the correct mode of the correct pathway. So yes, gratitude is good, but reminding someone of worse situations just to make them feel guilty for their own pain, because pain is not a competition. You cannot compare that, koi lake mein jaake dooba to their death was even more worse than somebody who might have drowned in a bathtub or a swimming pool. See how illogical that comparison sounds? That's exactly what I'm saying. So do not ever compare that, okay, मेरे पास ये है तो I cannot feel this, ये है तो I cannot feel that. That's not how it works. Your feelings are your own and they are valid. And the third phrase, just smile and get over it. You cannot get over grief. You cannot get over a bunch of different emotions that you're feeling. You have to go through them. You just can't go over them and be like, ये आग का दरिया है और मैंने पार कर लिया. It doesn't happen like that. That's not reality. That's not the correct way, because there are times when all these unresolved emotions will get stored in your mind, in your body, and they will come back and haunt you. So, if you have heard any of these, or let me know in the comment section which one of these you've heard and are sick of hearing. So next we come to that how our media and cinema play a role in this. So for example, like if we take Bollywood, we have always heard of songs like that Rote Rote Hasna Siko Haste Haste Rona, or the classic dialogue like Smile, Tum haste ho zyada achhi lagti ho. So yes, this is a major pain point for women, that why are we always told or expected to smile and just be presentable, be happy always, and just manage everything without even considering that हमारा पेन क्या है या हम किस चीज से गुजर रहे हैं. Now I'm not somebody who bashes Bollywood for no reason, so I dislike people who do that as well. So here I'm just not blaming a media house. What I mean to say is that this is society's issue. It has to be solved by us. Bollywood or Hollywood or any media or cinema in itself actually mirrors society. And that's the full stop here. It's not the reverse. It never is, no matter how much we think it is. So, keeping that in mind, the next time you just tell someone to smile, or like इतना drama क्यों कर रही है, या why don't you just hide your pain? So just remember how it feels to do that. For example, a lot of us would have even seen that video where a mother-in-law is telling her daughter-in-law who's delivering a baby that, what are you doing this bam bam bam, and just grin and bear it. But no, that just shows that the extra amount of pressure this gender has to put on itself. And I would say that even men are at times just forced to be stoic and not even allowed. to cry and other stuff and all that, so better we don't get into a gender war. But on the other hand, it does goes to show that this अपने आप को हर चीज में रोकना या not even letting your emotions play is something that goes against all of us. We all lose in this. So, for example, if we consider Jab We Met, so in the first half, she was the ultimate positive girl, where she loved herself and everything, like मैं अपनी favorite हूँ, etc., etc. But what actually does heal her is it's not her just कहना कि good vibes or just सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. What matters is when she does work through her emotions, whether that is burning Anshuman's photo or screaming her lungs out or even meeting her family. Coming back to that comfort space is very, very important. And it's not always about ki uh, you know there has to be a big moment of awakening or realization. It's not always going to happen, but what does matter is that you give yourself that permission, that space to feel safe enough, to feel free enough to actually exhibit your emotions and not be ashamed of them. And even if we consider Hollywood's amazing animation masterpiece, which was Disney Pixar's Inside Out, so usme the character Joy tries to keep sadness away. She always feels that if sadness touches everything, so then life is ruined. But spoiler alert, and okay, fine, maybe I should avoid the spoiler alert, but basically it's not what happens. And it just has a beautiful message that sadness, fear, anger, all these so-called negative emotions are very, very important. They all have a role to play. Do not ever think that because without sadness you can't feel happiness. Fear is what propels you forward. Anger is what gives you the strength and motivation to continue. Every positive and negative emotion has its own role. Sadness brings empathy. Without sadness, without anger, we don't have human connection. We just have a plastic smile, and who wants that, right? So why is avoiding negative emotions so dangerous? Why can't we just fake it till we make it? Now, I want you to imagine a beach ball. आप स्विमिंग पूल में हो और आप उस बीच बॉल के पानी के नीचे पुश करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, and you can feel that resistance that comes up. No, we have all done that at some point. But when we think about it, it takes a lot of energy to hold it down, right? Like if you continue doing it, then you'll have like hand pain, and the moment you get tired, you lose your grip and splash. That thing will just go into the pani with full force, and or it might even come up and hit you on your face. Like that's something that a lot of us have experienced. Emotions are exactly like that. The more you push your sadness, your grief, your fear without even solving them, resolving them, it just causes more resentment, more, anxiety and overwhelm than we can control. So, if you're a Nicolas Cage fan or you've watched his famous movies, so there's a very good dialogue that says, bring up as many demons as you can put down. And that is so important, right? Because the same way you feel as if I don't need to deal with emotions, I will just push them internally. But it does not work that way. It will come a time when like volcano ki tarah sab kuch phat jayega and you will not be in a position to control it. So before that happens, come book a session with us, come to us, we are here for you. And worst of all this ruins your relationships. Like, if I know that whenever I come to you with a problem and you'll just say, chill yaar, sab theek ho jayega, sabke saath hota hai, then I will stop coming to you. Because toxic positivity creates superficial friendships, or even with your parents, with your sibling, with your partner. जिस इंसान से आप comfort नहीं पाते, आप support नहीं पाते, उसको आप you end up just being totally withdrawing from them and getting detached. You end up being isolated with company because nobody actually knows the real you. They just know the smiling avatar you present. So, what is the actual solution? So, the next time anybody, whether it's your friend circle, even your enemy, your partner, your parents, anybody who comes to you crying, or just wanting to vent out, do not say don't worry. तो अब क्या बोले? The secret is validation. You don't have to fix their problem. You just have to sit with them in the dark. You know how in all those serials there used to be a scene where somebody is crying in the shower, fully dressed and all. So the romantic interest or somebody would come and sit with them, and that scene sparks or speaks volumes simply because it's so important that sometimes you don't need a solution. You don't need like, okay, get up, let's solve the problem. Sometimes you just need someone to share that silence with you and let it get comfortable. Let it your Because ultimately we are alone. We have to solve our own problems. There is no knight in shining armor who's gonna come and save us. But sometimes you just want a little bit of a support. And that support, if you can be for someone, maybe you'll be lucky enough that they'll also be, or maybe just share this video with them, and then they'll also be the dream support you need. So, next time, swap your toxic positive phrases for these phrases. So, instead of look on the bright side, mention that this sounds incredibly hard and I am so sorry you're going through this. Instead of everything happens for a reason, how about I don't know why this happened, but I'm here with you. Instead of don't cry, it's okay to cry, let it out, I've got you. Just hearing I believe you and your pain makes sense is 100 times more healing than any motivational quote. And see, if you're someone who has been carrying that beach ball underwater for years, if you're exhausted from pretending to be the strong, positive one in your family or friend group, then you need a place to drop the mask. Drop it in the comments, drop it on a personal call, or drop it on in the smash rooms, on the ball court, in the swimming pool, wherever you can. Even in the shower, whether you're dancing, singing, no matter what you're doing, just drop that mask. Because at the Creativo, we don't do good vibes only, we do real vibes only. So, in my counseling sessions, you don't have to smile if you don't want to. You can bring your anger, your mess, your grief, and we will hold space for it. No judgment, no forced positivity, just real personalized support. And if that feels like something you need right now, then all the details are in the description, or I'm here for you whenever. Just comment. And let's wrap up today with just one thought. Ki our society demands perfection. It demands ki we should package our struggles into neat little inspirational stories. But you're a human being, not a motivational poster. So it is really okay if your silver lining has a cloud. It is okay to say that today was a garbage day. You don't have to be grateful for the things that broke your heart. Like, there's an amazing song and I love it so much by, I think, Imagine, no, sorry, One Republic. And they say now that what doesn't kill you make you stronger by Kelly. So there's also that one. But yeah, what I mean is it just feels good to listen to those beats and everything, but that doesn't mean ki you have to go and hit yourself or just scare yourself or just constantly put yourself in situations which are sucking the life out of you, saying ki it hasn't killed me yet. That's not what life is for. Even though you might want to go and do something, I'm not saying don't go to a haunted house or don't try those bungee jumping exercises. Do anything that makes you want to do it. Anything that brings you joy, anything that makes you say, I'm living, I'm not just surviving. Feel your feelings, all of them, because your sadness is just as sacred as your joy. Your anger is just as protective as your peace. So you don't have to be grateful for the things that broke your heart. You don't have to be grateful for something that scared the living daylights out of you. Give yourself permission today to just be wherever you are at. No forced smiles required. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, it is absolutely okay to not be okay. So, see you all very soon at my next live. Bye.